Welcome to Energy Careers, a segment of the Energy Conversations podcast dedicated to exploring opportunities in the dynamic world of the energy sector. For 13 years, I've had the privilege of navigating this sector, and it has significantly shaped my professional and entrepreneurial journey. Join me as we uncover exciting pathways for those interested in making their mark in this exciting sector. Let's dive in. Welcome to another episode of the Energy Careers segment, a bi-weekly segment that really intends highlighting opportunities for young people looking to participate in the energy sector. In this week's episode, we had an opportunity to speak to three seasoned energy specialists in finding out more about their energy journey. In this episode, we have Dr. Rethabile Melamu, Niveshen Govender, and Princess Mthombeni. And I will be getting an opportunity to find out from each of them what their journey has been in the sector. Dr. Melamu, can I start with you? Please, could you share, how did you get involved in the energy sector? What did you study, and what has been your career path to this point?
Thank you very much, Togo. It's really great to be here, and thank you very much for inviting us to this segment. As indicated, my name is Rethabile Melamu. I am a chemical engineer by training. I did both my undergraduate, master's, and PhD at the University of Cape Town, Department of Chemical Engineering. I started specializing in renewable energy during my master's. I focused on biofuels, and believe it or not, I started doing a bit of research on hydrogen. It wasn't green hydrogen at the time, but I did my hydrogen research in the mid-2000s. I then worked for the university as a researcher and a lecturer focusing on renewable energy and really understanding how new technologies take root in society, and really learned quite a lot around how policy, how entrepreneurship, how markets, how incentives can work together to really contribute to the growth of an emerging sector. So really that's what my research focused on when I was at UCT. And then just before I completed my contract with the University of Cape Town, I pursued a PhD degree which focused on biogas. And so I know quite a lot about the biogas industry in South Africa, as well as technology, innovation, transitions. One of the areas of my PhD was around technology transitions and how the landscape influences technology transitions. Really learned a lot there around not just the biogas industry, but the broader renewable energy and the energy landscape in South Africa. And then I worked for Green Cape for about a year as a biofuels specialist there. Then I joined government to head the green economy portfolio, then later did sector and industries. All these portfolio had an energy component. Later moved to the Innovation Hub, where I was the general manager responsible for the green economy portfolio. And there I was also responsible for energy as a portfolio for water and sanitation. So on some days I understand a thing or two about water and sanitation, as well as waste management circularity. What's really interesting is that there are fantastic nexus between the various sectors that I got exposed to. We've seen a lot of effort and developments globally around generating energy from wastewater and waste. And so those sectors really are synergistic and talk to each other. And yeah, I think my recent portfolio is full-time portfolio is with Sapia. I've been with them for about 2 years now, but I really also contribute quite considerably by sitting voluntarily on most of the various boards that advance green economy, and a couple of them where I get a pro bono, but really most of them are voluntary. And so really that's how my career has been shaped in a nutshell. And this is a summary. And I really would like to acknowledge and appreciate the many people who contributed to my career. Those have been my colleagues, my fellow students, people who saw potential in me long before I even saw it in myself, my supervisors, the people that I continue to walk the journey with, younger people, my colleagues, older people, and I consider this a learning, a journey where there is continuous learning, and I continue to learn, and I've learned quite a lot in the past 2 years. And yeah, that's a bit about me in a nutshell. It's really difficult to condense almost 20 years of career into 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. A very exciting career. And I think what it really demonstrates is the broad opportunities that exist, not just in the energy sector, but as you've highlighted, the green economy broadly. And I think, as a young person listening to this, there really are some insights in that you are able to pivot and you are able to, take the opportunity, whether it's take the opportunity and work for the public sector, take the opportunity and work for the private sector. And I think you've also highlighted a very key point, which is continuous learning, continuous developing of self, so that you are then able to position yourself for these opportunities. And of course, the importance of a tribe in your workplace and a tribe at home that can continue cheering you on and encouraging you. If I could just find out from you, what advice would you give a young person that is looking to make a career or participate in the energy sector?
So the younger generation is fortunate enough to have all the information at their fingertips. So all the information that you need about various career options and opportunities are there. If you somebody in high school that is looking for to make a career in energy, go online, check out what you can study to give you access to a career that you hope to pursue in the future. So really do your own research. And secondly, I would advise young people, whether they are in high school or they are young professionals, that you need to pay your dues. You need to ensure that you work hard and you start from the bottom. I think this whole notion that people think they will graduate from university with an undergraduate degree and get into a workplace and become a manager is a really flawed view. Be willing to start from anywhere, and when you start, give it your all. Really apply yourself and ensure that you give you grab every opportunities that you have with both hands. Be willing to do everything and anything into the role. I've seen young people who get into roles who think some activity or some task are too low for them. Learn from your peers, learn from the people that have been there in the organization for a long time. They may not have formal qualification, but they have the experience. So be willing to grind for a long time, and do it for a bigger picture. Do it for a bigger picture. This country is development, as not only government is responsible for the country's development. We all have a responsibility, and we need to make sure that when we wake up in the morning, we are mindful of the role that we want and we should play in advancing the economy of our country and of the continent. So apply ourselves, know that you are a very important actor to advancing the ambitions that this continent has. And yeah, learn from those who walked the path. And just do things, whether you are scared or not, just do things and look for those that have walked the path. If somebody tells you that they have everything in order, just be skeptical, because not everyone has everything in order. We're learning. You may know a lot more than you did in the past, but you don't have everything figured out, and we figure things out as we go along. So be willing to learn. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so
that's me.
Thank you so much. And I think, you've raised a very important point, because there's, I think, a real misconception with young people that when I become this adult and when I get to my 40s, I will have figured it all out. And I think the honest truth and what we can tell you is that you won't, because you keep evolving, you keep changing. So allow yourself the opportunity to grow and evolve. But I think more importantly, be willing to be ignorant, be willing to do the grunt work, because whatever journey or wherever it is that you want to climb and get to, you do need to start with the basics. You do need to start with the not so nice things, but it's when you eventually then climb, and if one day you want to own your own company or be an executive, you need to be able to, for you to manage people in future, you need to have completed the tasks that organization does. And in essence, even the work that you think is not important, or if you think it's grunt work and, ooh, this is beneath me, you will not have the ability to manage resources that do that work if you haven't done it. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is to do everything in your role, to do everything with the broader and the bigger vision in mind, that these are all building blocks and these are all building, old steps to get to that pinnacle, and that there's no part of your journey that will actually be wasted. Everything really does come together, but it is about getting that work done and doing the not so sexy work for eventually getting to where you want to get to. Princess, I want to hear from you. What how did you get involved in the energy sector? What did you study? What has been your career path up until this point?
Thank you, Thokozile, once again for having me. For me, joining the nuclear industry was really a mistake. I never planned for it because I was very young and I was looking for a job. And I was told that there's an organization that's looking for an admin assistant. So that's where now starting, small comes in. Then I joined as an admin assistant, and then I studied marketing. I have an honors degree in marketing. But upon joining the nuclear industry and learning about the nuclear industry for the first time, and even learning about Gubach nuclear power plant in South Africa for the first time, I then took it a responsibility that, let me equip myself and with more knowledge when it comes to the industry. And luckily, the nuclear industry is a global industry. So there are training programs, workshops, and happening everywhere, every day. So I started attending those training programs in different countries. And the biggest one being the leadership program that is offered by the World Nuclear University. I did my program in Canada. And from there, and then I visited different countries, learning about their nuclear energy policies and energy policies as a whole. And I visited nuclear power plants in different countries, and I became a community member or a member of a global nuclear community, which we call it Stand Up for Nuclear. So I'm part of that group. And then also in the process, I became one of the people who organized the technical programs at the International Atomic Energy Agency. I organized at least around I was part of the organizing team for 2 technical programs in Vienna. And I also joined the government in South Africa. I spent 3 years in the government, being in charge of the implementation of the nuclear strategy, I think communication strategy, they call it that, for 3 years. But then again, I have also been a part of volunteering in different associations, just like you, Rethabile for free. I volunteered in one organization called Nuclear for Climate. I have also volunteered at the World Nuclear University as part of people who really organize some of the small programs there. But also, I am currently a member of the Generation 4 forum in their education and working committee, which is Generation 4 is in charge of the Generation 4 reactor technologies, which they call them small modular reactors in our language. So I became really a committed person within the nuclear industry. And maybe because I wanted to prove that nuclear industry is not just for technical people. It's also, I mean, everyone is allowed, because the energy sector as a whole has been sold as this sector for very highly skilled people or people with only technical background. And that's not the case. If you also look into the power plant, not just nuclear power plant, any power plant, you find communicators there, you find lawyers, you find technicians. And then before you even find people who specialize in a specific technology. So for me, I wanted to prove that the industry is not just for technical people. Anyone can just come and join the industry as long as you are committed. In terms of the advice that I can give a young person today, I don't know how to not dilute what Rethabile has said, because she has said a mouthful, really. But for me, I would just say to young people out there is that we love comfort. I mean, I also want to be comfortable in my life and just live a comfortable life, but that's not how life works. We need to step outside of our comfort zone in order to make a real change in the world. And a real change is not really about big change. If you are able to impact one person at a time, then you have really made a mark for yourself in this world. Because at the end of the day, it should not be just about careers. It should also be about making a change, about being part of solving the global challenges. And it takes really more than just a career to do that. It takes commitment, it takes determination, it takes many things that young people currently ignore. And they think that once you get into a workplace, then everything is fine. You are happy, you are a manager and everything. And it's just beyond that. It's all about impacting humanity on a positive high scale. And that what should this be about in terms of our careers. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for that, Princess. And I really love the fact that you've highlighted and your career and your journey in nuclear is evidence and testament to the fact that it is not just for STEM graduates, and it isn't, and that the face of the energy sector and the ideal candidate can be any young person. I think your story really demonstrates that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And if you find an interest in the energy sector, whatever aspect of it has piqued your interest as a young person, go out there and investigate, go out there and make yourself available for those opportunities. Go and study further, go and Google and find out where can I, what fellowships are there, what is there currently. And I think you've perfectly captured that, and thank you, and thank you very much for sharing your journey. Niveshen, if we could end off with you in terms of sharing, what has your energy journey been? What did you study? What has been your career path up to this point, and how did you get involved in the energy sector?
I strayed somewhat from my original intentions, but I think it's worked out for the best. Surprisingly, my undergrad was a BSc in biological sciences, and my postgrad studies focused on environmental management. This is where my journey to sustainability really began. I found the groundwork in my career in carbon footprinting, carbon management, and climate change strategies, and really pointed out the importance of climate change mitigation options on how we reach this low carbon future that we were all yearning. So from there, I decided to advance my studies with postgraduate programs and certifications in climate change, project management, policy analysis, and renewable energy. I think my career path saw me seeking an opportunity to implement impactful green economy projects that would really make a difference in the lives of people in South Africa. So during my time at the Innovation Hub, which is a subsidiary of the Gauteng Province Department of Economic Development, I gained on-the-ground experience with solar and battery residential application projects. It would have been the first of its kind at that time, particularly focused on low-income households. I also embarked on food security projects, biogas projects, research and educational programs and management to support new entrants into the markets. And then lastly, I supported the establishment of a green tech business incubator at the Innovation Hub that continues to this day to support hundreds of SMEs advancing green tech innovation here in South Africa. You know, Toko, I intentionally moved careers and jobs to make sure that my experience was vast and across multiple sectors. So I moved to the Department of Energy to learn and to contribute towards policy development with a strong focus on renewable energy. Here I focus mostly on solar PV and biogas. After that, I spent 8 years leading the After that, I spent 8 years leading the South African PV Industry Association, really setting the groundwork for embedded or distributed generation as we know it now, from a policy advocacy perspective, from a skills development perspective, from a market advancement point of view. My move to the South African Wind Energy Association, where I find myself now for the last 2 years, was a challenge to myself, really. It was really for me to learn a new technology while still bringing my expertise that I've learned along the way in terms of policy advocacy, in terms of market development, to support the advancement of renewable energy here in South Africa.
Thank you very much for that, Niveshen. Really insightful and really great advice. And just generally, all the advice that we've gotten from our guests today has been absolutely wonderful, and really, really thankful for you all to have taken the time to have been part of this conversation that not only seeks to empower ordinary South Africans about the energy sector, but also seeks to empower young people to understand how they too can play a role in South Africa's energy sector. And with that, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Energy Careers segment. Until next time. Thank you for tuning into Energy Careers, where we explore the endless possibilities in the energy sector. Don't miss out on future episodes where we'll feature more inspiring journeys and insights on how to embark on your own energy career path. Subscribe now to the Energy Conversations podcast and unlock the door to exciting opportunities in the dynamic world of energy. Your journey begins here.